Celtics fans, we're talking about playoff basketball here on Celtics Today, and primarily really want to break down these two topics that I've noticed, and producer Smitty have noticed, throughout the series versus Cleveland. Number one being Payton Pritchard is proving to be an excellent role player, possibly even the best sixth man for the Celtics in the next upcoming years. Brad Stevens knew what he was doing when he gave him a contract extension before the regular season even started. Breaking down PP's play in just a second, but on the back half of the show, we gotta talk about the Jays, who are still, after 5, 6, 7 years, are still proving why they are possibly the best duo in the NBA right now and what they're doing this postseason that's making the Celtics elevate among other teams. But like I said, Payton Pritchard, he has paid and played his way into a pivotal role here. God, so many P's talking about PP for the Boston Celtics here, and I cannot get enough about how much he has increased his game, increased his abilities for the Celtics from the first half of the preseason to the first half of the postseason right now. There's a reason why they gave him the nickname Preseason P, but I think it could go for the postseason as well. Let's talk about what he's doing against Cleveland right now that's helping them lead 3-1 against the Cavaliers. He's averaging about 12 points a game coming off the bench, and he's really implemented a way to get into that first rotation here for Joe Mazzulla. Of course, with Kristaps Porzingis out, Payton Pritchard and Luke Cornett have been the first two to come off the bench to mainly give Holiday and Horford a rest. But he's also grabbing nearly 3 boards a game. He's also dishing out 2.5 assists, shooting a great 51% from the field, and an even better 45% from the three-point line. And this is over the course of 4 games. Payton Pritchard is continuously getting better. And one thing that I've really noticed about Payton Pritchard is that he has become sort of a spark for that the Celtics need when he does come off the bench. Yeah, you're always going to get some fresh legs when somebody that's not playing as many minutes as the starters is going to come into the game. But the energy, the scrappiness, that's what I'm seeing here from Payton Pritchard. And not only has Pritchard stuffed the stat sheet, but his effort level and his comfortability taking and making big shots has been huge. He used to just kind of chuck up these three-pointers that I wasn't always a fan of. I think he tried to make himself kind of a catch-and-shoot type of guard, but he's so much more than that. He has been dominating the O-boards, which I love seeing that from Payton Pritchard. You guys know I'm a huge advocate for players that offensive rebound. But not only that, he's constantly crashing. He's going up against Mobley. He's going up against bigger players on the Cavaliers to secure those rebounds. And he's also taking smart shots, not just to chuck it up with like 15 seconds there because he's trying to be a hero. He understands his capabilities, and most of the time he sees his defenders lacking just a little bit, giving him too much cushion there on the three-point line. He doesn't like to take it with, oh, is his foot on the line? No, Pritchard does best when he's about 28 feet to 30 feet away, and he drains them. But I'm going to break down more about Payton Pritchard's play in just a few moments. I want to make sure you guys are with us every step of the way until Banner 18. This is the best content for free Celtics coverage on YouTube, and you can join 27,763 loyal subscribers here by hitting that sub button for me. All right, let's go ahead and get back down into Payton Pritchard's game. I want to talk about Game 3, where Pritchard dominated the Cavaliers on this deep three. This is what I was talking about. There's never a question for me of, was Pritchard's foot on the line? No, because he never even gets close enough. He's going to hit that dagger the minute he sees his defender start to snag off just a little bit here. As you can see, this was just inches away from the logo, and he silenced the Cavaliers. Not necessarily that Boston really needed that 3 in crunch time, but it was still like a, hey, you want to sag off me a little bit? I got you. And then Game 4, boom, he does it again. Shuts off a Cavs run to end the third quarter because Game 4 is a little bit more chippy, so they really did need Pritchard's 3 coming off the bench. But as you can see here, 11.1 seconds left on that clock. Payton Pritchard hitting a dagger. You can see Dean Wade, who's trying to catch up with PP, who probably wasn't expecting to take it from that way downtown. Caught him lagging, and I love this from Pritchard, who knows when to take the right 3. Who else knows how to take the right 3 is Sam Hauser. We always know he's going to be your catch-and-shoot kind of guy. But he hasn't really shown out for me versus the Cavaliers that I need him to. And Payton Pritchard has really stepped up in his lack of points. Not saying that Sam Hauser and Pritchard are the same player because they're not. But in playoff three-point percentage leaders, he is number 1. Then you got D. White, who unfortunately, most of those threes mainly came against the Miami Heat. I haven't really seen a ton of made threes from Derek White, but of course the three-point attempts will always be there from D. White. Same with Drew Holiday, mainly in that corner. You got Porzingis, that was 5 3-pointers attempted when he has only played a couple of games so far in this postseason when he got hurt against the Miami Heat, and now Pritchard. He's 5th in 3-point attempts here, but he is still making about 38% in the playoffs. So overall, Payton Pritchard's game has elevated, and he has made himself very vital in this postseason run. But we do have to mention that there are still some areas that Pritchard needs to grow, and he is a young guy, and I do believe that this is going to be his first season where he looks back of like, wow, I actually had a really big role here for the Boston Celtics in a very pivotal year for him. But 5 turnovers in Game 4 versus Cleveland. Sometimes he moves a little bit faster than I think he wants to, or his feet and his mind aren't correlated, because I've noticed this in every single game against the Cavaliers in this series. He has forced a turnover. Nobody else has touched the ball. He dribbled it off his foot. He tried to cross over, and he couldn't find it on the other end. He knocked out of bounds. He stepped out of bounds. So Pritchard is making these very faint mistakes that could end up costing him some minutes on the floor. But overall, I am seeing a lot of improvement, and I do think that will come with time as well. Mainly these turnovers happen once he enters the game, so it could also be nerves. But Joe Mazzulla has the utmost faith in his 6-man player here. Mazzulla said, I thought Payton's confidence in becoming a really good two-way player just affecting the game both offensively and defensively, whether it's handling, whether it's screening, whether it's shooting, whether it's chasing shooters, whether it's switching. I mean, there are several areas here where Joe Mazzulla is giving compliments to the chef, and the chef being Payton Pritchard. And I can always trust PP. I got very frustrated with the Celtics when they do tend to lag a little bit against the Cleveland Cavaliers, is because I love off-ball movement. I love when you're constantly spreading out the offense, when you're cutting, you're making the defense work, and when the Celtics go stagnant, and they do, and it infuriates me every time, I can always count on Payton Pritchard to come and set a screen. I can always count on Payton Pritchard that when he's taking on defense, a Darius Garland or a Donovan Mitchell, it's never a mismatch to me, because I know his scrappiness can compare just to those two players, and the speed can keep up with those two highly offensive players as well. So I do have a lot of faith in Payton Pritchard. I'm excited to see what he does for the rest of the series. Should Payton Pritchard play more or less than 23 minutes per game? That's what he's averaging right now. Do you guys think he should give Drew Holiday a little bit more rest on the bench? If D. White's not hitting his shot, should he take a seat on the bench for a little while? Type N for more, type L for less. While you guys are commenting that, I am going to be breaking down, dissecting the Tatum and Brown connection. We're going to be talking about the Jays. But real quick, if you guys have typed M for more or L for less in the comments section below about Payton Pritchard's minutes per game, well, you're playing Prize Picks. And that is our sponsor here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. It's that easy. It's honestly easier than typing M or typing L. Why? Because all you got to do is pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. I play Prize Picks every single game day. They constantly have promotions going on. Right now it's Taco Tuesday. They have Flex Friday every single Friday, which does give you a protected play up to $20, win or your money back. And especially with Tuesday being the WNBA regular season debut, I've got my season-long projected stats already locked and loaded. I've got your girl Caitlin Clark having more than 3.2 three-pointers made per game, Asia Wilson more than 21 points per game, and Brianna Stewart more than 7.8 rebounds per game. I always take the more. I say life's a little too short, take the more, but as you guys can see, it's a mere $20. It's going to give me a chance to win 100. Go on ahead and make your Prize Picks right now. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is truly that easy to watch yourself win some real money in real time. And while we do love talking about Payton Pritchard and the several elite role players the Celtics have, it's the Jays, man. It's always been the Jays. Even when KP and Drew Holiday came in, it's still been the Jays. And we've seen that now more than ever in this series versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Tatum and Brown have scored a combined 119 points in Game 3 and 4. This is not even including Game 1 and 2 with the Cavs or even anything with Miami Heat, and still 119 points. They are a vital part of why the Celtics are up 3-1 right now. Not to mention, they're currently +8 while being on the floor together. They work so well off each other, which is why when a lot of trade rumors happen about whether or not Jaylen Brown was too expensive to keep for the long run, I think Jaylen Brown, he'd be great by himself in another organization, but the fact that he and Tatum work so well together is what makes him so elite going up against defenders, because you don't know which one to guard more, Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum. When you look at these two projected stats combined, this is in 4 games against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're putting up almost identical numbers when it comes to scoring, and that is so influential when you've got two players who are scoring over 25 points a game. You've got the boards. We always know Jayson Tatum is a little bit more up there with rebounds per game for the Celtics, but their assists, JT obviously more the facilitator, most of the time facilitating Jaylen Brown to the rack. Shooting a lot better from the field goal percentage right now. 61% is Jaylen Brown, but I think he's being more aggressive on his shooting front. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Jayson Tatum's three-point shooting abilities, but Jaylen Brown has been electric, and they just complement each other so well. I know that we did have a lot of NBA Celtics reporters talking about they were comparing Larry Bird and McHale to Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but the only thing they're missing there is that ring. Well, we will no longer, on Celtics Today, tolerate Jayson Tatum slander. I will not have it, because I have heard so much about, has Tatum's numbers decreased? Is Tatum the player that can get them to the NBA Finals? Yes. Yes, he is. Because there are so many role players here, Jayson Tatum doesn't have to be the Steph Curry, the Anthony Edwards, putting up 50 points a game. Can he do that? Absolutely. And I loved what Austin Rivers had to say here about Jayson Tatum on NBA Today. He said, Tatum has elite role players with him. It's hard for him to go 40 points when Derek White has 25, or like we saw when Jaylen Brown averaging 26 points a game right now. The Celtics probably had the most elite role players in the NBA, so he hasn't had to take that step. But for the Celtics to go to the finals, for them to compete in the finals and win a championship, he's going to have to do that. So Austin Rivers thinks that despite the role players that the Celtics do have, Tatum still needs to be that next man up. And he has truly elevated his game without that 3-ball dropping. He's made about 2 3-pointers out of 8 in Game 4 versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that's unfortunate because I love saying the bang whenever Tatum does knock it from downtown, but the fact that he is excelling while driving, while he is really taking those ISOs and making 360s and doing pump fakes and really trying to drive with crossovers, I think Jayson Tatum has truly elevated his offensive play. And if he's not a selfish player, when that shot is not there, he is not afraid. As you can see, averaging 5.5 assists per game to make sure that the play is the best for the team, not for Tatum. So imagine when that 3-ball starts to fall. And I really do hope that when he starts to find all 3 levels of scoring, will it be more towards the Eastern Conference Finals and NBA Finals. But I think Jayson Tatum is the key, the dog, the leadership, and the scoring abilities to take them there. But it's Jaylen Brown who hit the Game 4 dagger. It's Jaylen Brown who, in my opinion, has been more consistent in terms of scoring so far in the postseason. Not that Tatum is bad by any means, but I feel like Jaylen Brown has been a little bit more in rhythm with scoring, while Tatum has been more in rhythm with facilitating. And we know that JT loves that about Jaylen Brown. He's not selfish. Like I said, he's selfless when he plays. And even when Jaylen Brown hit that dagger, Jayson Tatum was the first person there to celebrate with him. And he was like, come on, dude. Come on, dude. Gave him a nice 5-star to the chest. And let me tell you, this wasn't a smack. Jaylen Brown was visibly hurt by this hit to his chest. Take a closer look here. Look at his face. Look at the power in Jayson Tatum's hand that connected with Jaylen Brown's chest. And when you saw this happen in live, he actually cringed. He was like, damn, that hurt. That was aggressive. But Tatum loves seeing that aggression from Jaylen Brown. JB on Jayson Tatum said, I'm going to get Jayson back. I wasn't paying any attention, and he just comes out of nowhere with a left hook straight to the chest. I mean, 5-starred him. If he was mic'd up, you would have heard some cuss words for sure. Tatum responds, says, I didn't realize how hard I hit him. I've been lifting a lot lately, I've been doing my thing. I was just so, it's a high-intensity game, man. I drove, they helped, he hit a big shot. I was hyped. Did he mean to hurt his own player? No, but he did. It was a smack. But nonetheless, even in Game 3 when Tatum was mic'd up, the number one thing that I loved there was that Jaylen Brown was talking to Jayson Tatum saying, I'm Big Deuce. I'm Big Deuce. And you can see Tatum starting to feel it. They feed off each other, man. They feed off each other. And all jokes aside, it's just so great to see Tatum and Brown doing their thing. They are a phenomenal duo to watch, and I'm very glad they're the duo on the Boston Celtics because I would be genuinely afraid to face them if they played for any other NBA team. And with that being said, your confidence in Tatum and Brown leading Boston to a title, scale it 1 to 10. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it a 9. Wait for that 3-ball to fall from Tatum, and I'm going to give it a 9. Go ahead and comment that down below. While you guys are at it, hit that sub button for me live for every single Boston Celtics game. You guys do not want to miss it. Subscribe.